Welcome to Connector Live TV, The Influencers, the show where connections create opportunities and influence becomes impact. Good day and welcome back to our TV show. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Before we bring out our incredible guest today, I want to take just a moment to talk to our community because this show, this network, runs on your energy, your love, and your support. The Connector Live TV is your community television network, alternative media in your mailbox. It's built by us for us. If you're watching on cable, on streaming, we have a simple ask. 3 things right now. Take less than 30 seconds. After you watch this program, head on over to your YouTube and step 1, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button on your YouTube channel, The Connector Live TV. When you subscribe, you never miss an episode, and every single subscriber tells the algorithm this content matters. This community matters. If this show has ever inspired you, if a guest has ever made you think differently, act bolder, dream bigger, hit the like button, and then share this episode with someone who needs to see it today. Now this one. This is one of our favorite. We want to hear from you. Drop a comment right now on YouTube and tell us, who would you love to see on The Influencers? What themes, topics, and matter most to you and most to your community? Are you passionate about education, economic empowerment, mental health, the arts, entrepreneurship, criminal justice, reform, youth development, spiritual wellness? Whatever is on your heart, put it in the comments because the Connector team reads every single one, and the next guest sitting in that chair might be someone that you suggested. This is not just a television show. This is a conversation. And you, kings and queens, are part of it. And now, our next guest is a visionary leader whose work bridges health, culture, and global consciousness. Gregory Kirschenbaum brings a unique multidimensional perspective shaped by his academic foundation in business management and political science, combined with advanced studies in manual therapy and his current pursuit of a doctorate in traditional Chinese medicine. As the founder of Empathy Health US, Gregory is committed to promoting holistic wellness and integrative approaches to health, helping individuals align mind, body, and spirit in today's fast-paced world. He also serves as the U.S. chair to the World Intangible Cultural Heritage Protection and Development Foundation, where he works to preserve and elevate cultural traditions that connect humanity across generations and borders. And as a spokesman for MASS KONSCIOUSNESS, Gregory is a part of a growing movement dedicated to awakening the collective awareness of humanity, grounded in principles of democracy, liberty, and human rights, and the enduring power of the human spirit. His work challenges us to think beyond ourselves, to embrace a broader understanding of wellness, purpose, and our shared responsibility to one another. Let's welcome Gregory Kirschenbaum. Hey, Greg.
Hey, Mike. How you doing, man?
Live, The Influencers.
That is some introduction. Today? Thank you so much. Okay. that is amazing, Michael. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Just for the purpose of our audience, we're coming to you live from our studios in Philadelphia. Where are you at right now, Greg?
I'm coming to you live from Tucson, Arizona at the moment.
All right. Okay.
Yes, sir. Love me some Philly.
Okay. Now, your journey spans business, political science, manual therapy, and now traditional Chinese medicine. How have those disciplines shaped your understanding of true wellness?
Oh, that's great. That's a great question. When you touch the human body, with your hands. I'm basically I'm a physical rehabilitation therapist, and I work with the VA. I'm a community care network provider, so a lot of my patients are veterans, and you work with the body. You get a sense of I hate to say it like this, but really it's right and wrong. You get a sense of right and wrong, and that permeates the entire being. That's not just your muscles and your bones, but it's your blood, it's your cerebral spinal fluid. And that cerebral spinal fluid is the fluid that runs from your brain to the brain stem down your spinal column. And that lubricates your spine, the nerve. And everything in the body happens because of your brain and your spine. So as a direct reaction physically, so be it mentally, so be it spiritually, and even esoterically. A lot of the thoughts that people have are esoteric thoughts that don't necessarily come to fruition, and a lot of the thoughts that people have manifest in what I might call the ether, and those thoughts wind up manifesting someplace else on Earth. And people call it, quantum theory, string theory, things of that nature. What happens to all the thoughts that don't actually take place, right? So it's a bit of esoteric nature, and it's also a touch thing. Humans have to be touched.
Right. I definitely agree with that. Now, as a founder of Empathy Health US, what do you believe is missing from today's healthcare system, and how can a more holistic approach transform lives?
Yeah. In simple terms, empathy. Allopathic medicine absolutely is valuable and has an enormous place in medicine, and also in my own practice. I refer out to the MDs and to the DOs all the time, and all the specialists. We could not run a society without allopathic medicine. And people are always bashing modern pharmaceuticals, and I want to take a moment to say that that's not where I stand. I don't like the bashing of modern pharmaceuticals. I think everything is time and place, Michael. I'm famous for saying, when a car transmission needs to be replaced or repaired, you don't sit there chanting "Kumbaya" with, Palo Santo sticks and sage. You go and you get the mechanic and you fix the tranny. And that's the same thing with the cardiovascular problem. If you got a bad heart and you need surgery, if you need stents, if you need a bypass, if you need a lithotripsy for your kidney stones, you go to the doctor and they take care of that. However, if you have chronic headaches, for example, there's a lot of solutions that don't require allopathic medicine, and on and on and on. So empathy is what I would say is a direct answer, is the one thing that's missing in modern medicine. And formulations and strategic, exact medication structures is what's missing in holistic medicine. So when you merge the two, you find that you have a left hand and a right hand. That was the way that I always thought would be an effective practice. And just to be also clear, we don't really look at Chinese medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, which is my area of specialty, as holistic medicine. We are 3 to 5 to 6 year in med school to become a doctor of Chinese medicine, and we do research, and we are internal medicine doctors. We can write orders for blood and imaging, and we very much are considered internal medicine doctors around the world, especially. The United States looks at it a little bit differently. But so empathy is missing from modern medicine, and formulaic, exact processes is often missing in Chinese medicine and other forms of natural medicine. So if you mix the two, I believe that you have a smart solution, because at the end of the day, Michael, every person is a patient sometimes, but every patient is always a person first.
Exactly. Tell me a little about the organization.
Mass Consciousness. So Mass Consciousness is actually rooted in doctors and therapists and artists integrating, just like what we were just talking about. Mass Consciousness with a K. And what we do is we promote health, wellness, intelligent thinking, right and wrong, due process, First Amendment, Constitution, Bill of Rights. I do have this background in political science when I was a kid in college, my undergrad. I never really lost touch with that, and people say, what are you going to do with your political science degree? You're going to be a lawyer. You're going to teach, maybe I did wind up teaching, I mean, we're here together today, so that's an honor. But I'm not a professor at an institution. In fact, I'm still a student. I'm an adult student all the time. I've been going to school for the last 12 years. But political science helps you figure out a way to navigate society. It helps me figure out what's going on in the news, when they say fake news, when they say, the truth and nobody wants to believe the truth, when they shout out AI, all of this stuff is going on in today's world of media. And then here you and I are on a couple of studio screens, which is obviously not really AI. I guess there's probably some AI technology in the background running these chips and stuff, but we're just a couple of men having a conversation with a video camera here. So this is real. There's nothing fake about what we're doing here. And there's a lot of this. There's a lot of conversations going on. And so the mass consciousness, what is this all about? It's about having the deep conversation. It's about backing up the United States society with what is real. And our country is a country of laws. We are a country with a very beautiful, powerful constitution that most people have never read. There's amendments that protect everybody's right to due process, to vote, to walk down the street unencumbered, to gather as a group and say your piece. You can pray however you want to pray. It doesn't matter if you're praying to Allah. It doesn't matter if you're praying to Buddha. This is the United States. And mass consciousness, and of course, this is a non-violent, let's be very, very clear. There are religions out there that are promoting violence, and we are not supportive of that as a group, as a people. I do not support that. I'm a trained martial artist. We do not promote violence in the martial arts, and anyone who's watching who's a martial artist will attest to that. If you have a terrible teacher, they might, but any real teacher and any real student of the martial arts will support the statement, we do not fight. The number one lesson that we learn in the martial arts is do not fight. Now, there is a time and a place where a person might have to fight. You want to protect the little kids, and you protect the girls and the women and the old people, stuff like that. That's a different conversation. But we don't support violence. We don't support systemic violence, societal violence, religious violence, none of that. None of that. So mass consciousness came about because some doctors and some therapists and some artists and musicians, and this is hip hop music, okay? This is hip hop without profanity. This is hip hop without degradation of women, and this is hip hop without the N word.
Okay.
And I am real proud to be involved with that.
So how does it relate to awakening the collective soul of humanity?
All right. So,
And
like
how
I
does
said
that
earlier,
look in practical everyday life?
well, like I just got finished saying, no profanity, no N-word, no putting down women. Like we all come from an actual woman. And so my clinic basically has a philosophy, and I'm going to ask you right now, okay? Michael, you got blood?
Right. Exactly.
You got a mama? You come from a mama? You got blood?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, then you're welcome in my clinic. You say that's where it starts, okay? And then if you're going to do music, let's do music without putting people down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember Mozart or Beethoven putting people down. And so we reach humanity through music, and it doesn't matter what kind of music you like. If you like Quincy Jones, or if you like, Billy Joel, it doesn't matter who you like. I don't see any of these guys putting people
They're both
down.
on my playlist.
Yeah, I love them both, right?
Right.
I'm really high on Jacob Collier right now. If you don't know
Okay.
Jacob Collier, he's not involved with our group, but I'm really high on him because he is a very beautiful artist. Quincy Jones and Bobby McFerrin Herbie Hancock. Those three guys are really high on Jacob too. And there's a reason why this kid is doing something special. And I don't see him putting anybody down. He turns an audience into a 6-part choir. So mass consciousness takes a position of using music and art and philosophy to reach humanity. And ideally, we're set up for having conversations like this on the air, and that bridges the gap between those forms of art and also television and telemedia. Today's mental consciousness has a 3-second attention span, so a 30-minute interview might be overkill for the kids. But we like to reach the kids, and we reach the kids through hip hop.
Okay. So for individuals seeking purpose, balance, and impact in a rapidly changing world, what is the first step they can to elevate their mindset and their life?
Well, if you're talking about young people,
Right.
If you're talking about young people, we could be wrong. I mean, we're a bunch of old timers doing something. We've got all classic hip hop people involved, and we've got Supreme Court judges involved and stuff like that. Are young people looking at us and saying, you guys, what the hell do you know? Maybe they are, but I'm going to also say, guys like Method Man and Redman, they're like my age now. And Usher, how old's Usher? And he's going on tour. People are looking at what comes off of the internet, and they're either buying into it or they're not. It's pretty simple. And I think a lot of young people see what's like nonsense and a lot of malarkey. And I like to be polite on the air. But there's other words for the nonsense and malarkey, and they see what's real. And people can relate to what's real. They can see through a lot of horse shit. I'm going to just say it. If you have to bleep me, bleep me. But kids don't want garbage. They want reality. And they're tired of the 50 and 60-year-olds preaching some nonsense and being corrupt, and all they ever see on the air is all this stuff, and my generation, I'm going to target my generation right now, and I'm going to come at them a little bit with a little bit of muscle, because when we were in high school and when we were in college, I remember everybody talking about how we're going to change the world, and I remember everybody sitting there protesting, and they didn't like this and that, and now here we all are playing golf and drinking martinis at 55 and 65 years old and driving around in fancy cars and not changing the world. And I don't like that, and for my money, I would rather put my money into changing the world for that vibrational adjustment, than
Greg,
a bunch of material stuff.
You make me think like you start off going to change the world, and then by the time you're in your late 30s, you're joining the establishment.
Yes.
That's what kind of changed us. But I want to get more into the mass consciousness and this event coming up. But I also have in my notes that you are an ambassador to China.
I have the great honor. I am a UNESCO NGO cultural ambassador to China. Yes. World Intangible Cultural Heritage Protection and Development Foundation is founded by Master Junhua Zhang. He's a 13th generation inheritor of Tai Chi acupuncture, which is like Tai Chi. Everybody knows Tai Chi. It's a different family, different part of China, Tai. And so he embraced the United Nations. The United Nations embraced him. And we have relationships that go all the way up to the Secretary General of the UN and the Deputy Secretary General of the UN. And we're very, very honored. I was just in China last year, and we are bringing people together from around the world and having exchanges, cultural exchanges, from whatever country they come from to China, to America. We have an office in New York City at Rockefeller Center. And we basically just 2 doors down from Radio City Music Hall. So we're real convenient to get to physically. And we get to fly around to the different nations, and we get to greet people. We're also at the United Nations in other countries, in Switzerland, what have you. And it's a lot of fun because, at the end of the day, people are people, man. Like everybody just wants good music and they want to eat. and all of this media that's going on around us, it's bombarding people with noise and fighting. And I think we had a little chat that was offline before we got on the air, and I was talking. I'm not here to bash any particular politician, you know. And I made a comment, you know, guys like Trevor Noah. I'm a huge Trevor Noah fan. I'm just going to put it out there. And I really just love this guy. And I did have the privilege of living in South Africa for a few months when President Obama got elected. And I'm a big President Obama fan. You know, did he do everything right? No. Is he perfect? No. But is he elegant and classy, and do the dogs and kids love him? Absolutely. I've never seen an American eagle attack President Obama in the White House. Okay, and I have seen an American eagle attack another president. So kids scream when one president shows up, and kids are jumping up and down for joy when another guy shows up. So that's where I'm at in life. Okay, you know, let Trevor Noah badmouth the one guy on purpose. You know, and I'm going to let the comedy work its own thing. Me, I'm about supporting unity. I like the big U. And you know, if I could get today's administration to meet me over at the United Nations and we can all eat, they have a great cafeteria. The food's really good at the UN, believe it or not. And you know, I would absolutely love the opportunity to sit down. You know, I have had a chance to speak with some of the people in the administration over the last couple of years. And you know, frankly, you know, not a lot possible. It's a complicated situation, and they have an agenda that doesn't necessarily meet my agenda. So the big thing for me is really I'm trying to reach the kids. I want the kids to see that not every grown up is full of horse dung. You know, I mean,
Right.
you know, we're real. You know, we're real, man. And so I know what it's like to be a kid. I was a kid. You were a kid. We used to play ball. We used to get dirty outside. We used to break wrists and have casts, and everybody signed the cast. You know, like they don't do life like that anymore. And you know, you go outside until dark. Your mother yells for you. You got to come home. If you come home too late past dark, you're in trouble. That's how it used to be. Today, filled with a world of demons and devils and predators, kids don't have the same opportunity to be a kid, you know. And maybe that is because of the media. And that goes all the way up. When you're 17, you're still a kid, you know. So you could be a senior in high school driving a car, but you can't buy a beer and you can't get married on your own without permission. So you're still a kid. And you can't even fight in this man's army because you're not 18. You got to get permission by your parents to join the military at 17. So it's you're not a kid. You're not a grown up. And these kids need grown ups to be a better role model. You know, right now there's some horrific stuff going on social media, and there's all kinds of talk about all kinds of bad people doing bad things, and that's all they get to see. And I think that mass consciousness is a place for young people to tune into something and say, wow, man, like, you know, these cats are doing something. Like they're trying to do something. Like, I like that, you know. You know, we had Magic Johnson, we had Bruce Lee, we had Muhammad Ali. I mean, you know, I remember Muhammad Ali and Harry Cosell, and I mean, you know, they were having a good time sparring with each other, but you know, they don't have that, these kids.
Right. You know what? Well, I think we kind of laid the foundation for what's coming next. Really want to know. There's a big event coming up on April the 26th,
Yes, sir.
sponsored by Mass Consciousness. So tell us about that. I know we just had Stanley Banks on here. We just had
You had Stanley.
Diane Sayre on here, and
Yes.
it looks like a great lineup. So tell us all about that.
Yeah, we are really excited. I'm trying to find a picture to hold up. I'm not sure it'll come through or not. Yeah, let me see if we got a good picture over here. Let's see if it'll come through.
Okay, it comes through. Oh, I see. Yes. Send that to me, and I'll make sure it comes up.
Okay, yeah, let's get that out to you.
Okay.
And so we got a whole bunch of cool people. We got Stanley, you know, Stephen Hill. We got Dex Daly. We got Gregor Huber, violinist. He's a beautiful classical concert violinist. We got different genres. It's not just hip hop. The kids are going to connect with the hip hop, you know, but the adults are going to connect with the overall message and the overall show presentation. Henry Street Settlement is a classic downtown New York City spot. It's been around for a long time. All the greats have gone through there at one point or another. It's a real New York spot. So New Yorkers, especially local people, they can come on out and see the show. It's a daytime show. It's a family entertainment show from like 2 to 4:30 in the afternoon on Sunday. So, people could go to church and then they could go to a show, for example. This is not something dark. This is not something loud and rude, it just made me think, I out here in Tucson, Ice Cube was playing last night, and I'm thinking about, like how he's always protested against the establishment, actually, and he never signed the contracts and he never went to those parties. And honestly, like I got a lot of respect for that. And I kind of feel the same way. I've been off of film and television for a long time because I didn't want to engage with that kind of energy spiritually. And so Mass Consciousness is having a show on Sunday rather than a Friday night or a Saturday night. They're having it during the day so that the family can be together. And this is the kind of thing, like, old school families do something on a Sunday, and maybe families don't get to do that anymore because of the kind of world that we're in. But that's not right. Like
Right.
the family's supposed to be together. So we want everybody to come together. We want you to come with your mother.
Okay. Do they need tickets, or is
Yeah.
it free admission, or how can they find out
Yeah, they gotta
more?
buy tickets. Yeah, you gotta buy tickets. Anywhere tickets are sold pretty much, or massconsciousness.com, Mass Consciousness with a K. There's also a QR code. I don't know. Again, I don't know how that works with the airwaves here, but there's a QR code right over there.
Okay. All right.
If that'll come through. And you could also, go to the Abrams Art Center and buy tickets over there online.
Where's that located
There's
at?
also going to be that's down on the east side in New York City. I don't know the exact address. I'm long out of New York for a minute. I don't have it written down in front of me. But Abrams with an N, Abron, Henry Street Settlement, Abrams with an N. Yeah. Lower East Side, New York City. And, the Lower East Side's famous for all kinds of great art. And there's great graffiti, like even just to hang out for the day. I'm not saying you got to go to church and then come to see us, but you could just go to eat something, and there's all kinds of food. There's Dominican food, there's Colombian food, there's a kosher Jewish deli down there. You can get a corned beef sandwich and a pickle. Like there's all kinds of crazy good food. There's halal, there's falafel, there's really amazing food in that neighborhood. And then you can walk around and see all the graffiti. You can see unbelievable murals, like the best of the best art. And then you walk inside and then you get exposed to this. I can't promise that there's going to be some other celebrities there, but I can definitely tell you that they've been invited, and nobody said no, so we might have some surprises. I'm not sure who's going to show up. A lot of people know Stanley. Stanley comes from a great jazz lineage, George Benson. And George Benson, if for those people watching this don't know, that's the guy who did On Broadway, say the neon light shine bright on Broadway.
We just had him on the program. So, yeah.
Oh, you did? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I forgot we're not doing it together here. So, Stanley's an amazing guy, and we don't really know who else is going to be popping in. But that's the kind of environment that it is. It's very loose. It's very
is this a
kind.
one-time thing, or
a one night only VIP show? Not necessarily the only event that we're going to do ever, but this show right now, it's not an extended run. This is a one night only. You got to be there. I'm going to do my very best to fly in as well and be there. And we do have some political people that are going on. Obviously, you had somebody else on the show that's in politics, right, and potential presidential candidates. So we really just want to stress, if that hasn't been stressed enough, this is a family entertainment show. And we're real proud of the fact that there's no profanity, and that there's no N-word, and that there's no defamation of character to women in the music.
Okay, sounds like a great event. And what is that website again?
Yeah, that's massconsciousness.com. Mass Consciousness with a K. And yes. And if anybody does need to reach out and they just can't remember any of that stuff, you just holler at me at empathyhealth.us. US for the vets, easy to remember, Empathy Health. And you can see my name on the broadcast. You can also reach out to me on social media if you need to. And I'm open to the public on social media, so you can send me a direct message and I will reply to everyone who does reach out.
Okay. Greg, I want to thank you for coming on the Connector Live TV Influences. And let me just say to my audience, what an enlightening, expansive conversation. Today we heard from Greg Kirschenbaum, a voice that invites you to think differently about health, purpose, and our place in a larger global story. His journey reminds us that wellness is more than physical. It's mental, it's spiritual, and deeply connected to how we engage with the world around us. From his work in holistic health to preserving cultural traditions to encouraging a higher level of awareness through collective consciousness, Gregory challenges us to look inward while also reaching outward. And perhaps
Michael,
that's the real message.
I want to thank you, man. I really feel so honored to be here with you today. You ran a great interview. You were very prepared, and I'm so grateful to be able to connect with you and your team and the audience. And I just hope that anybody can make the ride up from Philly. Big shout out to Philly. I love Philadelphia. I've spent many weekends coming down to Philly and eating over there and watching the ball game and stuff. And I just want to thank you so much again. And come on up. It's a 90-minute ride to New York City. And please, I would love to see you up there.
I was talking to my crew about coming up there.
It'll be, like I told the audience, it'll be a good time for everybody. You of course, you're our guest, so you meet everybody. You come backstage and you have a good time with us.
Okay. We'll bring a crew with us.
Yeah, please. It would be great. It would be great.
That true growth begins when we align our values, our actions, and our purpose. In a world often that moves too fast, Gregory's perspective encourages us to slow down, to be intentional, and to recognize that we are all a part of something greater than ourselves. Gregory, thank you for sharing your insight, your vision, and your commitment to elevating humanity. We appreciate you.
Michael, thank you. May God bless you and everybody who's watching us today.
All right. And to our viewers, remember this. When you invest in your well-being and expand your awareness, you don't just change your life, you impact the world around you. I'm Michael Rice, and this is the Connector Live TV, The Influencers. Stay connected, stay inspired, and we'll see you next time.
Now is the hour to speak truth to power. Let's go.
Yeah. Stand up, speak out. Speak out, speak out. Stand up, speak out. Ooh. Stand up, speak out. Stand up, speak out. Stand up, speak out. Against demons and principalities corrupting our society. Them wicked villains and them evil puppeteers, battling for the souls of humanity, causing fear. Like false narratives, using technology, trying to own your destiny without acknowledging. See, we the ones that gotta save ourselves. Flip scripts and we making sure that they all fail. All them evil breadwinners, I know they all stale. Smoking mirrors, I can see the lies they all tell. Yeah, dark clouds could be rain on hell. I feel your pain, I'm just really here to make y'all yell. Stand up.
Listen closely to the voiceless cries. Have-nots walking on financial landmines, while the middle class struggle to survive. The forgotten living below the poverty line. Homelessness on the rise as more become disenfranchised. The question is why? The system wants you deaf, dumb, and blind, cause the truth ain't entertaining, rather fill us with lies. You heard what I said, y'all really misled. Silence is dead, refuse to stay quiet instead. I'm taking a stand, so give me your hand, cause God got a plan, it's all in your head. Save a life, and read the Bill of Rights. Stand up.
Stand up, speak out.
these are the reasons. They messing with weather machines, fossils greeding, while drugs and the fentanyl lace thoughts and speaking. Out of the suffering, heaven's been buffering, trying to make sense of the human cost and weeping, killing and rupturing, stealing and profiting. God's asleep at the wheel, I think it's time that we